All right, welcome to the first episode of our new series, Dash Platform Walkthroughs.
Oh,
We
nice.
got Monarch Wadia as our first guest. What's up, Monarch? You want to give a little intro? Who you are, what you do?
Hey, Anthony. Thanks for having me here. I am a software dev. I've been working in full stack web for 12-ish years or so. I've never touched crypto, so this is the first time that I'm actually touching crypto as a developer, which is exciting. Most of my work is like React, TypeScript, Node, but I've done a bunch of Java, that sort of thing.
Sweet. And
Nice.
then Ryan, do you want to talk about this new series we're launching?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit before already, so we don't have to say much about the series. I mostly just wanted to get to know Monarch a little bit more in detail before we jump right into what we're doing. But what we are doing, what we will be doing eventually, I would say maybe in about 5 minutes or so, as we'll jump into a tutorial where Monarch's gonna lead the way. He's going to basically perform the
Live QA.
yeah, like the action that a developer might do off screen. We want to get it on screen so that we can see how the experience goes with developers using our Dash platform product and tutorial. But yeah, before we jump into that, Monarch, I don't know you at all. The only way I know you is through Anthony and getting this live stream going. But I'd like to know a little bit more about just your technical background. You said you have 12 years of experience, and what specifically are you usually working on?
Yeah, I started off with a lot of front end stuff back before React was really a thing, and when React became popular, my boss at the job I was working at the time said, "Hey, we don't really trust this new thing called I think it wasn't even Redux. It was the thing that came before Redux back then. We don't really trust it. Why don't you just implement your own state management from scratch?" So I got into React and I built my own Flux architecture from scratch. That was kind of fun. So after that, I sort of moved more towards the back end, did a bunch of Ruby on Rails, was an architect at Ericsson for a while, leading all their front end projects. Then I forked off and started my own business, did my own business for the last 6 or 7 years. I ran 2 software development firms. I ran my own startup called Mintbean. And that's...
Sorry, what was the startup called again?
It was called Mintbean. So it was a hackathon platform. At the peak of it, we'd get about 800 developers registering for our hackathons a week, which was
and this was how me and Monarch knew each other. Is Redwood did a hackathon, and then that's how we met. And then eventually, my first company, StepZen, did a hackathon also with Mintbean, and it was awesome. It was like such a cool experience, and so we've kind of been buddies ever since.
Yeah, good times. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. So we built the whole platform in GraphQL and TypeScript and Node and deployed it on AWS. Had the community working on the platform, hired from the community as well, had about 10,000 people overall in the community at peak. All of them software engineers, most of them from boot camps, that sort of thing. So that was a lot of fun. Made me realize that I'm really technical and I don't necessarily want to do the CEO job forever and ever and ever. So yeah, that's why I'm doing more geeky stuff these days. Anthony and I have been collabing on some LLM stuff, which has been really awesome and fun. So that's sort of what I'm up to these days. Is large language
you got an open source library, Ragged.
Oh yes, I just did a whole overhaul over the weekend. So I just deleted everything and just started from scratch. It's so much better now. Yeah.
Like wow, that's quite the list of accomplishments. So you're both on the technical side. You ventured into the entrepreneurial side. You don't like the management as much as the technical, but it looks like. Are you still doing anything with that hackathon software, or has that just been retired? Or
oh, that retired a couple of years ago. But thanks for asking. It was a lot of fun. Never gonna do that again. It was a lot of fun, but
yeah, it was
the energy over there
to manage. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess maybe now's a good time to jump into the tutorial then and kind of see I have a better frame of mind of who I'm talking to and what kind of experience you have. So this will be good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
if you scroll down just a little bit, we don't need to read the whole intro because we'll be kind of talking you through everything. So you're gonna want to just run each of those commands unless you already have a directory set up.
No, I have nothing set up right now. So
Excellent, solid, perfect. So just run through them. So this will set up your projects, initialize your package.json, and install the one and only Dash platform dependency.
So I'm going to be working inside VS Code for most of it, or it's not all of it.
Pretty much all of it. Yeah, there's some times where you'll have to reach out to a browser once or twice to seed your wallet.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, you shouldn't use pnpm. You should just run the commands as written.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. npm init.
This is the trick I learned from you. How to set your type to module with a command.
Oh, that's neat. Does that actually persist to your package.json?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Let me.
So check your package.json. Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Hey, thanks for that tip, Anthony. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to put that in my back pocket. So I'm installing Dash 1.0. So I'm just gonna take a look
exactly.
Here, I can take a look at Dash.
Yeah.
Is this us?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, nice. You guys landed the best package name ever. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, we got.
Dash is old.
We've been around for a while, actually. Dash has been around for over 10 years.
Gotcha.
So it was one of the earliest projects.
Gotcha. Quick question.
Yep.
Do you want me to follow the tutorial the way I normally would, or is the goal over here to take a look at the tutorial and run through the tutorial?
We can go wherever direction you want in terms of if you want to go to different links and look at different stuff. We should follow the steps as closely as possible up until we get to a point where you can start deviating from it, which we can do at certain points along the way. But the most important stuff is going to be the setup commands and things like that. And you won't find this stuff in the Dash docs is kind of the point of this tutorial. So the idea is to see if this is going to just work as you go. So if you skip steps, do it at your own peril.
Gotcha. Okay. And that way we won't really be queuing the document either. So, okay, I'll try and satisfy my intellectual curiosity quickly and on the side, but I'll follow the tutorial as it presents itself. So then we could ignore.
I mean, it would be interesting. I imagine that that's probably an issue because of Windows.
Yeah. Wonder if just putting that in a separate thing, like a separate markdown block might help. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just fix this on my end. Cool. And
this is mostly just to do your basic kind of ignore setup and keeps you from accidentally committing your keys, which at this point is not a huge deal because platform is all. There's no real money that you're using, but at a certain point it will be, and that will be good.
Gotcha. Cool. So we'll create each script file individually.
So actually, I'll just let you read and go and see if this makes sense.
Sounds good. Each script file throughout the tutorial or single for life. Recommend adding all the node scripts that we implemented by the end of the tutorial. Okay, so this looks like the package JSON. It doesn't say that it's a package JSON, but it's pretty clear that it is. Okay. So head here.
I'll add a little open package.json right above it.
That's good. I'm gonna, let's see, description, keywords, author, license, type. dependencies is important, and scripts is important. So I'll take those. And get block methods. Node and file is .n, and then there's script slash. Okay, so we'll be adding these scripts.
Oh, can you check your Node version real quick?
Yeah.
Node-v. Okay, great.
Cool.
I should add that Node 20 is required. I
Yeah.
don't think it says that explicitly anywhere.
So initialize Dash client and query blocks. So create a scripts directory for scripts. So scripts and API, and network will be set to testnet via network environment and .n. Okay, so gotcha. So let's see what we did. So API and scripts, and this should be empty. Yep. And .n should have network equals testnet. Yep. So import Dash from Dash and pass the project's network in. Okay, I see. And wallet configurations through Dash's client constructor. Okay. So I want to see how it feels under my fingertips. So
yeah, if you want to like console log stuff out or things like that to kind of explore the code, you feel free to do that as you go.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. So and then let's dash dot. No.
Yeah, it's not in TypeScript. Sorry.
Gotcha. No problem.
Probably it should be though.
Yeah, there should be a way to get the types anyway.
Yeah. No.
It is. The intention is to have it give the TypeScript types. So if it's not, then we need to fix something.
I might just not have done the npm install. So
no, it's the project is really not configured for TypeScript. So if they haven't made it so you'll get the types anyway through JavaScript, then I would. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it'll have some default stuff, but I
okay. So you do have things in there. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Capital C. And yeah, we're actually pretty good. So
I didn't need to include a TypeScript dependency. That's so nice.
Wallet is null. And offline is true. Yeah. Sweet. So we have the Dash client set up. We haven't created a wallet, so mnemonic is set to null to indicate we want a new wallet to be generated. To get a new address or an existing wallet, we'll replace null with an existing wallet mnemonic. Okay, is a wallet mnemonic an ID or is it more of an authentication method?
It's an authentication method. You're going to get a mnemonic and also an ID when you create your wallet.
Gotcha. So a mnemonic is like my password.
Yeah, it's 12 random words.
Gotcha.
And this is kind of a crypto convention. If you were to use MetaMask, which is Ethereum based, when you start, that's the first thing they do. Give you 12 words. Some of them make you like write them back to you, or say like what was the first and what was the last to make sure you actually saved it. Everything we're gonna do here, all the keys will be exposed. So that's, you don't really want to like use this wallet for anything. But like we said, there's no actual, this is all testnet still, so it's not really a big deal. But yeah.
So I'll say a little bit more about that. The mnemonic is 12 words. It's not exactly random. It's 12 words from a dictionary of, I believe, maybe 4,096 or one of those powers of 2. And and I don't remember exactly how many, but it's in the thousands of words that are possible. And it's essentially a seed that you use. It's a random seed but instead of, zeros and ones, you start with 12 words, because it's a way for you to, a lot of stuff is derived from the 12 words with different algorithms. But because this will be one of the things that's deriving is private key, public key pairs, many of them potentially. And because there's value in there, when you have private and public keys, it can be used for lots of different things. One of those things that it's used for is to store, like, that's how you actually transact value on the blockchain. So stop me if you don't, if you want some more detail on any of this, like the public-private key pairs. I'm sure you're familiar with from a development standpoint, but in cryptocurrencies, they're used primarily to derive private key and public key pairs. And so because that will eventually or potentially have value on it, it's put in the 12-word format so that it's easy to like copy down and back up as, write it, like physically writing it down on a piece of paper and then importing 12 words into a wallet, for example, from a written down piece of paper is easier than zeros and ones or I's and L's and things like that. So that's the whole purpose behind the specification. There are a lot of technical specifications that go around these 12 words, but yeah, it's pretty involved. But that's kind of the basis of this.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was trying to do the math in my head. So that's what some number followed by 3 times 12 zeros, so something followed by 36 zeros is the kind of entropy we're talking about. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and if you just want to open up a new tab just so that you have this in your browser history, if you want to look at more, go ahead and go to github.com/-hive. And with that. Yep. And so if you know AJ O'Neill, one of the hosts of JavaScript Jabber podcast, he's done a lot of the low level work in building libraries and documentation that discuss in detail what a lot of this is all about, specific to the Dash cryptocurrency. But the 12-word concept is not specific to Dash. It's just there are certain bits and whatnot that Dash uses that other cryptocurrency doesn't. Like there are certain ones that each cryptocurrency will have their own bits for certain things. But you can look at a lot of this stuff if you're ever interested. Like Dash Phrase is the one that we're talking about right now. That's a library that generates this 12-word phrase, and you can kind of see documentation about that if you're interested. And then the other Dash Hive libraries build on that concept, derivation of the keys and whatnot.
Gotcha. That's neat. Very cool. Thanks for the walkthrough. That's actually super useful because a lot of people think that it's just theory, but really that's how you orient yourself. So this is kind of giving me my bearings. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So this will get turned into some sort of.
And if you could bump up your font, just for anybody that might be watching, we do have at least 5 people watching, so who knows?
Yeah, 100%. And who knows how many in the future?
So the zoomonic thing is just that's a play on words for the mnemonic and using a test case for the words. Zoo is one of those permitted words in the dictionary, and you'll notice at the very end it says wrong. The reason for that is that there's actually a checksum involved, and so if you that zoo mnemonic is derived from some other random number. Oh, it's the FFF, the input entropy right there. If that's obviously not random, But if you did use that as your input entropy, then the recovery phrase that you get from that is that zoo, which you can imagine that's because F is near the end of a list and Z is near the end of an alphabetical list. But the wrong at the end is just how the checksum works. So we won't go into all that detail, nor do I really know all the detail, but it's there for you if you want. So that's a mnemonic that's primarily used for test cases.
Gotcha. And what's a seed?
So the seed is the 12 word thing, and it's fine that we're spending some time on this because it's an important key concept. The seed, so the 12 words is called a seed phrase, and the seed phrase ultimately gets translated into a seed, which I think is, I don't know what, that looks just like hexadecimal to me. But yeah, that's derived from the seed, and that's what's actually used to seed the key pairs. So it's kind of like if you think about it as a pipeline, you have input entropy that comes into the pipe, and then through an algorithm that spits out a recovery phrase so that users can have a user-friendly 12 words to work with instead of writing down any kind of hexadecimal or other alphabet for their backup. And then this secret salt is one of the things that goes into the algorithm as well. And then further down the pipe, then it pumps out a seed. So I believe that this particular library is focused on just that small part of getting whatever device you're using would create some random input entropy, and then it would go through the algorithm. It might use some certain defaults like the secret salt of Trezor. Trezor is a company that created this specification, among other things, hardware wallets, things like that. And then the seed is what you get out. And then you would take that seed and then you'd put it into a different library that would use the seed as an input to create the private public key pairs, for example. So this is sometimes done all in one library, but the way that AJ made it, he just wanted to, so that it's more understandable and more of a Unix philosophy, doing one thing with one library. That's what you would then get out of this library as the seed, but that would be the input to another part of the process.
Makes sense. This almost feels like the future of passwords, to be honest. It's coming from someone who's more of a traditional web dev. This is like a neat solution for a lot of problems. But
Yeah, AJ is one of the biggest cryptocurrency skeptics around, and he says that this is one of the best things that the cryptocurrency industry has actually developed, is these standards around 12-word seed phrases and the subsequent creation of what's called hierarchical deterministic key generation. So from these 12 words, you can couple that with what's called an HD path, a hierarchical deterministic path, and that's a different library. If you looked into that, I think that's called Dash. It's the next library built on top of this would probably be Dash Keys, and then on top of that is called Dash HD, and that Dash HD is the thing that then takes those key pairs and makes deterministic key pairs based on a path that's cryptocurrency agnostic. So you could have these 12 words, and then those 12 words could create Bitcoin addresses, Ethereum addresses, Dash addresses, any cryptocurrency addresses, or even just things that you might not use cryptocurrency for cryptocurrencies. You could put as part of the HD key path, and so that way you could have a whole password management system based on this concept of HD keys and deterministic keys built on that 12-word phrase, and so that you could literally have like all of your life's passwords derived from a single 12-word key phrase, including cryptocurrencies of every flavor. So we went a little bit deep in that, but there you go.
No, that's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's so you could actually build a password manager where the input is a deterministic input and there's deterministic output. So you could maybe hash together your input pair, your input 12 set and the domain that you're trying to log into, and then you get a deterministic password for that domain. Like I sort of,
Yep.
I think I see where that's going. That's really neat.
Yep. And I think there are some people that have done this, and so it's with 10 years of this specification, there's been a lot of work, but it hasn't really crept into the Web 2 space as much as it might in the future. But yeah, maybe we can head back to the tutorial then. Now I just wanted to give you some more context behind that 12-word stuff.
Gotcha. Thank you. That was you are enriching my life. So thank you.
Yep.
Cool. I guess we were setting mnemonic to null, and now that I know what that mnemonic is, it makes sense. Offline mode is true because we don't want to sync the chain. Only use when it's null. Okay. So we're basically in dev mode right now with mnemonic and offline mode. Is that right?
The way that this library works, which is not something that we've developed, this is something that a different organization within Dash has developed. I think that their use of those option object is that if you have null for the mnemonic, the library is going to create a 12-word phrase for you. But if you already had a mnemonic, you could put that in there, and then it would use that.
Gotcha. Okay. So
I'm not exactly sure what the offline mode does.
Gotcha. Get best block hash returns the block hash of the chain tip. I guess this is describing. This is a bit of a non sequitur over here. All of a sudden, I'm reading things that I haven't seen before. So this get best block hash returns the block hash of the chain tip. That's
this is explaining the code that's coming up. So I should put it after the code is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So
yeah, you can just scroll out to the code first and then reorient yourself.
Yeah. So inside here. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So if I drop this into get block methods, and at this point, it's Dappy client methods. Okay. Getting DAPI client.core. Getting block hashes and block weights, or block by height. Okay. And all right, I see. So get best block hash returns the block hash of the chain tip. Block hash returns the block hash of a given height. We're not passing in height right now. Position of the block in the chain. The first block ever line is a height of 0. Okay, I see. Each subsequent block is added, increases the height by 1. Okay, so it's getting best block height would be, I guess, the absolute, like the current height. I guess.
Yeah.
Block.
This is I went back and forth whether we would leave this in the tutorial or not. It's kind of a way to just query it, so it's like a good kind of first step, but it introduces a whole bunch of terms and jargon that kind of takes a while to understand. So it might make more sense to just kind of have a link there to the docs and say if you want to learn more, click here, then kind of have this in here.
It could be something that we could hide behind a details triangle.
Yeah, I think a diagram would be helpful because what I'm like, I'm not sure if this is a 2D space or a 3D space or if it's just like
It's a chain of blocks,
column.
brah. It's a linked list.
Okay, so it is like a spinal column. Cool. And since it's a linked list, I can get the thing at the tip. Okay, so it's the tip of the linked list. Get the block hashes. I don't know what these things are doing. So I guess you can move on because the code is there. So fetch the specific block by its height, and the buffer as block and so the corresponding block hash. Yeah, this is also not sure why this needs to be done. Not sure why any of this needs to be done. So yeah, expandable column would be amazing. And then I do get block methods. Okay. So no idea what that did, but okay.
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's do the wallet one will hopefully make a lot more sense. Let's just skip past this part.
Sounds good. So get block
Yeah,
by
that has
height.
that.
Returns a buffer object. Okay. So buffer. Bytes. So blockchain is bytes. Buffer. Okay. Get block hash. And it returns the. So that's the block that I got. And then the hash of the block. It's a hex string. That's the hash. Okay. And get best block hash. Returns the hash of the latest block. Just the current state. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. And this is at height 1, but that's like ancient history, right?
So if you read the blast sentence in that block, it says it's the first block after the Genesis block. So every blockchain, when it starts, it has its first block that records, the block, the thing the chain has started, and then people make transactions, and those get recorded on new blocks that then stack on top of each other over time. So this kind of is written to assume that you know what a blockchain is. So I should also probably include a little link to be like, here's what a blockchain is, And none of this stuff is really like necessary for the tutorial. It's more so if you want to get some insight into what's actually happening on this blockchain before you create a wallet and start throwing money on it and interacting with it. Here's some stuff you can kind of do to inquire into it, but it really makes more sense to kind of bump around in a Platform Explorer, which we're going to do later. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So all of this is describing the what? But
the Dash blockchain.
No, sorry, no. But what I'm trying to say is that this is describing the what, but not the why.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I know what it's doing, but I don't know why we're doing it yet. So I'm assuming that'll sort of reveal itself as we go. But just feedback and notes. That's all.
Yep.
So, create wallet. And do we need? Quick question: do we need all 3 functions over here and then all 3 functions over here? Do we need all?
So this is just gonna do a single thing and create wallet. So these will all be kind of more single use than the get block methods. So this one is just gonna do. It's gonna create something for you, and then it's gonna console log 2 things. So it's only running a single function to do that.
Gotcha.
So go back to your terminal output.
Yeah,
there you go. So you're gonna want to copy paste that and put it in your .env, which may or may not be written. I'll make sure it is if it's not.
Yep, it's there. You got that one.
Great. And that's going to be a recurring pattern as we go. You're going to be running these commands and get this info back. And it's written in a way where you should be able to just copy paste what you get out because it's giving it to you in this format. So it's trying to make it as error proof as possible for people who are running through this. Because if you have, every time you run a command, you have to be like, here's what you need to find in the output, and then copy paste it into .env, and then it adds more steps, which can help with learning, but also makes it much harder to ensure that things aren't going to go awry along the way.
Makes sense. I wonder if this could be wrapped into a CLI of some sort. But I digress. this makes sense so far. I'm not a super huge fan of different one-off scripts for different sections. I don't know if we're going to go back and use create wallet anytime in the future, or use get block methods anytime in the future. But if these are one-off, then might be better to just do all the one-off stuff in one script and just get that out of the way. Maybe just a thought.
Well, then yeah. So yeah, I think we should revisit that once we're further in, and you kind of see what's happening in terms of each of these and what they're doing. I think it'll make more sense as we go, and then you can kind of let me know how you would actually want it to be structured. Because if we did that, everything would be in a single file.
If we did that, everything would be in a single file. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that might just be, I mean, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to, if you're assuming that the person going through this has a large amount of time and patience, and for whatever reason, then maybe they're working on it, or maybe they're getting paid to go and QA the tutorial like I am. But if I was just somebody coming here and trying to set up something on the platform, then I may or may not have the patience to go and actually find out what all these things are doing. So it's not the most gentle learning curve.
That is well, it's a gentle learning curve since that's slow. You can at the very beginning of the post, there's a link to the repo. So if you want to just clone the repo and play with it in its finished state, that's an option as well. So the point of this tutorial is kind of to make every step explicit so that you can learn it as you go, not necessarily get me to the end as quick as possible. Does that make sense?
It does.
But I do agree that there should be a way to just like kind of do like clone this thing, run this command to spin it up, and then you could just do a couple steps and kind of get to the end product. There'd be like a kind of cheat sheet maybe at the beginning that would just give you a really, really condensed version. Would probably be good.
Yeah, it's hard writing these because you don't, the different people have different goals, and on both the producer side and the consumer side.
We actually, what I'd like to look at, we go to dash.org and just compare this to like the official docs, because it's similar but it has a couple slight differences. So zoom in a couple, and then we're going to go to developers in the top, I think, and then documentation. Yeah, platform, the middle one. Yep. Cool. So go to tutorial introduction. Yeah, and then bump your font up. Yeah, so what this does is it breaks each step up into, so if you go to connect to a network, this will give you the first script, I think.
So basically, Anthony's tutorial is this tutorial, somewhat modified.
Yeah, and so you see here that they sort of set it up also as one-off scripts, but they also put the client in each script in general. So I've already abstracted some things into my version that makes it make more sense as a unified project, because otherwise, if you were to copy paste the code straight from here, you get very confused very fast because you have all these different client objects around. So there would be ways to consolidate the script functionality, but every script is kind of important. Not necessarily. Some scripts could be skipped, and there's even more in this docs that I didn't include, but it's kind of like more of an API reference that also goes in a sequence that you could follow like a tutorial.
Understood. Yeah, I think your documentation is way more detailed than what I'm seeing over here. Because over here it's just saying do this stuff, but these are just magic words. Meanwhile, what I'm reading over here is actually way more. Where'd it go? Like, this is way more detailed, and this is way better in my opinion.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this going, what? So yeah.
Yeah, it took me a little while to figure it out, and I had like 2 years of Web3 blockchain experience already. So can I imagine?
Yeah, this is the big challenge here is we're trying to get a tutorial that introduces Dash platform to developers, and those developers are going to have different purposes, different desires, different styles that they like. So it's impossible to please everyone. But what we'll do is, you're the first Monarch. You're our guinea pig. But we'll probably do at least 5 before we make any serious. Well, not at least, but we'll want to get a good broad lay of the land about like what people's experiences, and then we'll make some changes based on at least a few.
Couple changes I'm already pushing, like
couple changes we can make.
Simple stuff, things that need to be pointed out. But if there's any like broad structural changes we want to make and people suggest or desire or something, then that could definitely be possible. Or just create another one that is also what some people want, because some people might like this one, or some people might want it to be slightly different. So kind of see.
So let's keep plugging along, and then we'll see how far we can get, and it might make more sense why things were done a certain way at the end.
Yeah, so this part's pretty important. You gotta go to the test net. So scroll up a little bit. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna go and do this. This thing. Okay.
Yeah, ideally it would be easy to just Google the test net and find it, but that should open a link for you if you click it.
Yeah.
There you go. And it might take a second to load or possibly crash. So
sounds good.
Yeah, so this also happened to me.
Oh, really?
So copy paste the URL, but take off the HTTPS, like just do that thing and then try rerunning that. Yeah, because their freaking HTTPS is all messed up. It's been like that for a year and a half.
Yeah, at some point we need to have a better faucet experience for sure. We'll deal with it for now.
So now you got put your so go back to your wallet and copy paste the address. Yeah, so your wallet address right there, and then that's what you got to put in at the very top. Yep, and that gets you the coins. This is like the step where the most error can be added in, and I wish there was a way I could just. There probably is, but I want to see how they're doing the API call and literally just build that also into a JavaScript command. And just
we'll work on this.
Because what's going to happen now? That's actually the last time I used this. This was able to complete. What it used to do is it used to then crash when it completed and you got the money. So you'd get no feedback and it would crash. You would think it'd be broken, but you would get the. Let's see what happened.
I think exactly what you said.
Yeah. So. When I did, it actually refreshed and worked and told me how much it gave me, but that seems to be a rare occurrence. But I think you did get it. So let's go back to the post and then go to the dash, click the other link. Yeah, and then put your the same address that's in your clipboard.
Here.
Search for that.
Nothing yet.
Yeah. So if you refresh. Let's see. Just make sure. Double check that that's the address that you had in your .env. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay, well let's keep going, and if it's
the faucet didn't work, it would have been there by now. So we gotta do that. Or thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's not gonna work though if we do this. Let's see what happens though.
Oh man, this is brutal.
No, it's not horrible. I mean, no more Dash for you. Come back in an hour.
Yeah, so that's what makes you think it might be in there, but it's not showing up for some reason on the block explorer. So let's try to keep running through the commands. If things don't work, it'll tell us that you don't have funds.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Is there a way to do this via the client in JavaScript?
Not that I'm aware of. It's not in the documentation. If there is a way, that's why I was saying I needed to figure out how they're connecting to the faucet at all from the web UI, and then trying to start. Oh, let me look at that right now, actually.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, no, this is. I've been saying I wish this part was nicer for a very, very long time, and I've done my best with it. Here we are.
Yeah, you've done a hell of a job here, because it's like reading this stuff is if I'm going slow and I'm reading this, then there's a wealth of information over here, and I'm honored to be the guinea pig. And as a guinea pig, it's not that horrible. It's like I can actually make sense of what's going on. There's a lot.
Yeah, and ideally, yeah, if something doesn't actually go quite as planned, you can kind of compare it to the screenshots and see what should be happening.
Makes sense. Okay, so are we dead in the water until we finish this?
Not necessarily. Let's keep going, and then we'll know immediately if we need to send you stuff, and we could one of us could wire you some Dash. We could loan you some.
Gotcha.
Anthony, why don't you, while he's doing that, can you try to get some Dash to that address?
Yeah, could you copy? So we just need him to copy paste it into the chat for us.
I'll go ahead and go to I'll see if there's a different faucet that I can get working.
I should have one that's pretty much good to go. I just gotta.
Cool. So drop that in chat. Register modified line including a mnemonic seed. Okay, and then mnemonics in there. Skip synchronization before height. Okay, create a file called.
It looks like the faucet is using the address, the Dash testnet address, to determine whether people get Dash or not, rather than like an IP address. I don't know why it would do that. But these faucets are old and made by other people than us as well. Did you have any luck hitting that, Anthony?
So I think I'm gonna be able to send funds. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna try and send him one Dash right now.
Okay, so you maybe got some testnet Dash.
I got some earlier today, and I've got my whole wallet set up right here. So I'm just gonna see. I'm looking at this.
Good idea.
See what happens.
The next step is a little messed up too.
All right, Monarch. So I'm now looking back at your screen. So what command did you run that wasn't happy? Create identity.
Yeah.
Create identity is not going to work without Dash in the wallet.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do right now.
So let's we are kind of dead in the water until we can get that worked out. But is the error at least clear? Or let's see.
Ish. It says unimplemented, which I don't know what to make of.
That doesn't sound like it's a payment issue then.
Are you able to send him money, Ryan? You've done that for me before.
I don't have any testnet funds on or even an address, so I could
give you. I mean, I can give you a .env with all that stuff. How do you send funds when you do that?
I know our web wallet doesn't support testnet yet, but there are wallets that do.
I just sent you everything in Discord with the wallet address and mnemonic and stuff. This has got like 4 Dash on it, I think.
That's part of the SDK, Anthony. To answer your question, is there's a way in the SDK to send funds, but I'm
trying. Yeah, I'm trying it right now. It's I'm getting a weird error. It says permission denied. I'm not sure why.
Okay.
This is one thing that I did not put in the tutorial, which I'm realizing now probably should be.
Because the faucets aren't reliable, that might be a good thing. But obviously, the thing we really need to fix is the faucet itself. But we could go back and start the tutorial over, getting a new mnemonic and address, and then the faucet might be
Not work this time.
it might work.
I mean, that's pretty easy. We just gotta run the create wallet command again, but first we gotta go back to client and API and change mnemonic to null real quick. Yeah, exactly.
So did that. Should I clobber?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything but network. Yep.
And I think everything else should be same. So
yeah. So you just gotta run the npm run create wallet.
Then I take that, go to the faucet.
Yeah, I should do the same thing you did last time.
Yeah. Stairs. Okay.
All right, everyone, cross your fingers.
And then while you're waiting for that, you could just go ahead and go to the Explorer, which is
If this doesn't work and we can't send him funds, what we can do is I can give him my wallet that I created and that I just sent to you, and he can go forward in the tutorial with that.
Oh, I got
it worked that time. Look at that. Sweet.
Faucet gods.
This is a common thing with Dash and blockchain stuff. Make sure you're copy pasting the right address.
I think I am.
Let's try going to the actual Platform Explorer. So go to platform-explorer.com. I think that's the name of it.
Okay.
No, hold on. Sorry, that's not actually.
I don't know if this Platform Explorer.
The link is in the is a little bit further in the tutorial. Hold on, give me 1 second.
I don't know if it shows wallet addresses though. Balances. I don't know if that's
one. Oh, it is.
Features.
Platform-explorer.com. Yeah, actually, you're right. You cannot.
So I'm wondering, let's see, what's the Explorer that you're using? Not the Platform Explorer, but the Core Explorer. What's the URL on that?
This one? Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go the first Explorer you're looking at.
Here.
Testnet.insight.evo.org. That's okay. I'm going to look at a different one. And then can you, Anthony or Monarch, could you post the new testnet address in
I think I might know what the issue is. I think we should be using a different URL. Hold on.
Yeah.
Go to explorer.dash.org/insight. Try that. Actually, just explorer.dash.org.
Or explorer.dash.org.
Yeah. See if this is different. If this works.
No matching records found. Oh.
No. You go to this one. I'm going to post the link. Try it in that one.
Let's see.
Yep.
There you go.
Whoa. So what is this?
This is the best testnet Inside Explorer that I know of. So I'm not sure where the one was that you have in your documentation.
I mean, so now I see all these things. All these go to the same site. They all have different URLs and apparently give back different information. The one that comes up first in Google was the second one, platform dot.
Yeah,
dash.
you're not going to want to use anything on Google because Google is going to be wanting. It's going to be trained to find the main net explorers, and we're dealing with test nets right now. So
it used to work though with that link in the past. It's just not anymore, but it did in the past. So I'm not really sure why that changed.
Yeah, we'll need to have.
And this link you gave me, again, this is HTTP. So people are going to go to this link and they're immediately going to be told by their browser this is an insecure site.
Yeah, take it up with Dash Core Group. I mean, in theory, we should be able to host our own. And if we really want to be, you know,
I wonder how hard it would be just to build in these couple things into Platform Explorer so you can actually see the addresses. Like that's the thing to do. Because Platform Explorer is like, that seems to be the thing. There's not going to be a whole bunch of extra ones that work in different ways. It's going to be like a single maintained thing.
Well, in theory, this one's supposed to be maintained also.
Anyway, we have the money, so let's create the identity.
Yeah.
I go here. And I modify my client back to what it was, and then I create identity. Seems better than the last time.
Yeah, and this one takes a while, so if it's hanging, that's probably means it's gonna work.
That's good news. Okay.
So Ryan, that link you had, where did you originally get that?
No, I got errors again.
Okay, let's see. Let's read it.
Max retry is unimplemented.
Okay, this hopefully is just one of those errors that will go away if we try it again. This is the step that involves sometimes things will just break for reasons that don't entirely make sense, and it's just because testnet is not very reliable. I'll put it that way.
It is true. It is true. This looks like it's going to probably get the max retries again as well. So we we'll keep trying for a little bit. Let's
looks like yeah, I got you saying there. Can we try this? Let's have you use my keys and see what happens. So I'm going to put these. Actually, what would be the best way for me to send you a message, Monarch?
Yeah.
Well, do you want me to just actually, let me just put this right in this chat. I think you should be able to just copy paste it. Just go back
should I hide these off the stream?
You don't need to hide any of this stuff. This is all stuff that's totally fine to expose. So just go to the StreamYard. You can do all this on camera. It's fine.
Okay. So I'll drop. So just confirming, I'll drop your credentials in my .env.
Correct. Yes, the credentials are in the private chat right now. And then, yeah, I was afraid that was gonna happen. So just do that real quick.
Cool.
And then for now, let's comment out everything below ID. Yeah, exactly. And then comment out yours on the top as well.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, let's give this a try, see what happens. So now just rerun the create identity again.
Cool. What is an identity?
You're gonna want to know. You're gonna want to put the 12 words from your mnemonic right in there. Have you done that?
Yes.
The totals and mnemonic are there with the address, yeah, and those are both in the API client through the environment variables.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No.
Same issue. Hold on.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna
So
message.
you're using PMPM, so I'm not sure if that's an issue or not. It shouldn't be, but
Let me.
yeah.
Let me.
What were you gonna say, Ryan? You said you were gonna.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna message the Discord testnet channel to see if there's any known issues on testnet right now. Anthony, if you or Monarch, can we print the? Can you post the error so I can post that in Discord? See if there's any issue. We're not gonna solve it, I guess. But.
Yeah, and then I would say next thing we should do is uncomment out my identity ID and just skip this step and keep going.
Yeah, sure. Let me put this in a paste bin.
Perfect.
This should be safe to drop in a paste bin, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're cool with like your file structure for your code thing being in there, that's the only thing that would be considered even slightly sensitive.
Yeah.
I usually just drop these in. Yeah.
Okay, drop the
link. I got it.
Cool. My npm install is still going, so I'm going to wait for that. Then try running that.
Yeah, and this is why it's nice to use PNPM because it's way faster. But I found that every now and then some weird things happen. But that it looks like the type of error you're getting makes me think it's testnet, not anything in your project.
No, what's this? No matches found. Let me try this again.
Yeah, that was just because you didn't blow away your node modules at the same time, which I didn't realize you didn't do. I would have said to do so.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
It was just confused because PNPM and NPM handle node modules differently.
Yeah. I know PNPM likes symlinks, which don't always work well. So I'm going to run create identity now.
I think you're probably going to get the same error, but I just wanted to make doubly sure that this is not the issue.
It might be. Yeah, it's a good point. So.
Yeah, this is the step that we were getting weird errors on, Ryan, when I came back to do stuff, and it took us we kept getting different errors trying to figure out what the issue was, and then the issue was just always kind of just try it again later, and that ended up just being what had to be done. It's weird though, because
still getting the error.
Yeah, it's probably just network is messed up. So let's try this. Go back to your .env and uncomment out the identity ID, and let's see if we can just skip that step and keep going and see what happens. So let's go back to the tutorial and just go to the next step. We're just going to be retrieving your identity.
Yeah, so we get the identity, and guessing this probably works. So yeah, wrapping this stuff in just CLI might be super handy.
No, I agree, actually. That would be the thing to do. I have to imagine there's already some sort of way to interact with Dash with a CLI, but maybe not with Platform.
Say that again, Anthony.
Well, he's just saying that we should just have a CLI where you could just like run these commands, just have them embedded in the CLI.
gRPC
Okay.
transport error unimplemented. This seems slightly different from the one before, I think.
Well, it still said 12 unimplemented, didn't it? Make sure you try.
Yeah, it's the same thing. That one was also gRPC transport error.
Yeah, I think it's giving us the same error each time, which makes me think it's
Okay.
something with testnet.
What version of the SDK are we using? That's
package.json.
we need to figure out.
Just package.json, not lock.
Yeah, this will give me the exact version.
Well, so will the package.json.
Sure. So
dev.1.0. Actually,
that might be the problem.
That's not the most current one, actually. Blow that away and run the install again. You should be on 15.
So,
yeah. I know that the testnet is not at the very latest release of the SDK, so I'm not sure, honestly, which SDK is best to use. The latest.
Well, 15 is working for me today, so we should try 15 and see what happens.
Okay, so were we doing retrieve identities, or were we doing...
Yeah. Retrieve identity should be the one, yeah.
Okay.
Did you reinstall your node modules, or just
did.
This time? Okay, yeah, it should be. That should do it then. Same issue. Yeah.
So I'm on this exact version. So PR 18.25.11.
We don't want to use a PR version. Why did it install a PR version?
I did 15. So
well, that's Dash setup. That's a dependency of Dash, of the Dash thing.
So if I do npm list, why doesn't it show me everything?
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is not something I usually do. Okay, see, that's weird. That shouldn't be like that.
So if I... and Dash setup is the name of our project, just a heads up. So
oh, it is? Okay, that's why it's saying Dash. Okay, I was confused. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
So if I do, no problem. So now we're on dev 10. Maybe it'll actually run. So I had to take the hat off December. So after I took that off, let me see if I'm actually able to retrieve. That went fast, but the server does not implement the method getStatus, which is different from before.
What version of the SDK is it using now?
Dash dev 10. Let me try 15, like Anthony said.
Yeah, can you get it to install the exact version that Anthony was working with?
Yeah, that is now 15, same as Anthony.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've already tried this. I think this is just an issue with testnet. Honestly, I don't think we're going to be able to solve this.
Let's try 12 before we totally bail on this, and then because I think the testnet is running dev 12 right now, even though the SDK is a little further up to date, they have.
Hey, there you go. It worked. See, and
There
I'm
we
telling you, the only reason why is just because we waited. This has nothing to do with anything we've changed at any point in time. All of that was completely unrelated. I'm telling you.
So you're saying it's still using the Dev 15 SDK and it worked, but it didn't work before?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no. This is I updated Dev 15 just now. This was the first run with Dev 15. The previous run was Dev 10, and it didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so I thought we had done Dev 15 earlier. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. But
No, we didn't.
Either way,
I set it up, but it was downloading some weird PR version instead of the Dev version.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're moving.
We are
Moving along.
So Anthony, here's the exact thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't have the caret in it. So
yeah, the caret is added automatically because it's set up to install Dash at 1.0, so I don't have to specify the version, so it'll just be updated when someone runs it. But I'll have to figure out what to do about that. And we don't even know that was the issue. I've been in this space before where we changed something, thought it fixed it, and then said, "Hey, this thing was broken. We did this," and they're like, "No, that has nothing to do with it." So I think let's just move on from this step.
sounds good.
We'll have to revisit that, Anthony, because I think, yeah, I don't know how the NPM. I don't know in detail how the NPM dev or not dev, but semantic versioning, like the caret and the tilde and things work with dev branches. But
I think I might have an inkling there. The caret gives you the latest version in that minor patch, and P is higher than D. So a dash PR would be probably seen as higher than D.
So it falls back to alphabetical in that case.
I think so. That's my hunch.
Well, once we get off of dev branches, no, even when we get onto alpha branches, that'll still be an issue. So yeah, I don't know. That's something we just need to be aware of, Anthony, when we do this in the future. Because
I'm aware. Don't worry. I'm well aware.
Okay. All right. So let's see if we can get through the next step, and then maybe we'll call it quits then, because I think we're coming up on our time.
Cool. So I will quickly do top-up identities. And okay.
Ryan, do you want to schedule Monarch for a second go around where we try and keep going in another time?
Yeah, that would be great. If Monarch's up for it, we could do a 1B. Like, I know that you've already numbered your next one as 2, so we'll just do
I can rewrite that. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
I'd be down.
Well, yeah. It might be a good precedent to set anyway, because the numbers we could have as people trying the thing, and the letters we could have as
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and ideally after the first couple, hopefully we'll be able to iron out these things. For this one though, I don't know, man. It's probably just a luck of the draw to a certain extent.
It'd be cool to
that's why we need to have fallbacks for when things don't work. So that's why having the extra keys was good to have. So anyway.
So question, and maybe this is how people start getting involved in Dash. With like all of this work that Anthony's doing is really great work. I am nowhere as good at writing documentation as Anthony, but if I wanted to get involved and write code, then that might be a fun side thing for me to do from time to time. Like, how would I get involved?
Yep.
That's an awesome question.
You're at the right place. That would be me. So me and Anthony, we can get you involved in other projects as well. When needs come up, like for example, today we came across the problem where there's a bad test net, right? And this is an issue that's come up several times before. So solving that might be as simple as creating a simple application that is a more reliable faucet. And so that's just a small example of something that we could put you on and then task you to work on if that's something you're interested in. So there are a lot of different things that we could have you work on.
So that would really get you in the guts of the blockchain too, and you would come away a changed man.
Yep.
Hopefully,
So we'll talk offline about that. There's lots to do for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, we should probably start wrapping up here for about at our time that we said we were gonna finish. And if we're gonna do another one anyway, we don't need to worry about getting through as much of this as possible. It's probably a good natural stopping point.
Yeah, let's just bring it back a little bit high level to end. The high level of this is, again, we have a network that has nodes running, and those nodes that are running on this network right now, we're working with testnet, and testnet is a network that's essentially created by Dash Core Group, and they own and run all the servers, right? So they spin up a whole cluster of servers, nodes that are running the Dash blockchain and Dash platform. And one of the features of Dash platform specifically is that you can store data on this network. So you can think of it as kind of like cloud storage, where you don't have to actually set up an account to work with this. All you have to do is pay the money. And right now with testnet, it's not even money. It's like fake magic internet money that you get for free in theory from faucets. But when it's on mainnet, you would pay, let's say, like 30 cents to store a certain amount of data that your application needs for global state management, for example. And that's the whole purpose here. So we ran into several issues.
And you have a wallet with an address, and then you need to create an identity, which gives you another ID. The identity is then what you use to create the document. You then use the document to write a note. Not confusing at all.
No, not at all. I got all of that.
Yeah, and when you compare it, though, there are some issues that we obviously need to work out in terms of developer experience. But at the end of the day, what's supposed to be the happy path is that you spin up, you put this SDK into your application, and then the SDK, it takes a little while to get to know the API and whatnot for the SDK. But after you do that, you basically have access to a database, a cloud database that you don't even have to register for. So in theory, it's supposed to make the developer experience for creating an application that needs global state management a lot easier, because now you don't have to set up a server. You also don't have to set up a database. You just use SDK.
Yeah, and so Monarch, it's about like them being kind of each one-off kind of scripts. As you go, once you have the identity, then you create and edit and manipulate documents and notes and stuff. So you end up kind of implementing like a CRUD interface to a certain extent. So it's almost more like an ORM that you're kind of building in one sense.
Yes.
So like I said, if you wanted, you can just clone down the Git repo, add in its finished form, and then you'll have all those commands already. And that's kind of why they're separate commands, is because like they could all be combined into one file, but you still will be running individual commands because they're doing specific composable functionality.
Yeah, so it's like a command of commands is what you're describing. So just do a bunch.
I mean, really, it's like building out a CLI is essentially what we're doing here. So what you're saying about this should just be a CLI with commands is like totally on the money.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's what we decide is the best way to introduce developers to this, then that's something that we could build.
And I know how to do that now. I know how to build a Node CLI because I did it already now, which I did not know how to do the first time I started doing all this Dash stuff.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And those developer tools that we looked at when we were going down the side track of the 12-word phrases, we actually do have CLIs for all of those tools. So we have both SDKs and CLIs.
Yeah, I was going to say, there has to be already. There is Dash CLI that lets you interact directly with the RPC stuff.
Yeah,
there's sideswipes JavaScript, though.
There's a lot of different CLIs and things. But yeah, we have to figure out what the best DX is for just the introduction to developers. So yeah, we'll talk about that. I think maybe the best next step would be schedule another stream to go through this again. and then just talk offline about what other things that we can get you working on. So thanks for your time, Monarch. And thanks for helping us.
Do you have any closing thoughts,
Yeah.
Monarch, so far? It's kind of hard to tell.
We haven't said anything critical yet. So let's have your hot takes so far. How much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate cryptocurrency? Just kidding.
I really love the tutorial because there's a lot of potential. I think what it's giving me is that hands-on. It's hands-on, but it's also theoretical. So it's teaching me as I go, and I'm really learning a lot as I'm building it.
That's the difference between a tutorial and a how-to.
Hmm?
So you have, this is a thing with Diataxis. It's like this docs thing where they have these 4 things. They have, there's tutorials, how-tos, explainers, I think, and then there's a third one. But anyway, it was like a how-to tells you how to just do something specifically. Like, I need to know how to do this, whereas a tutorial is like actually teaching you concepts as you're doing it. So that's kind of the idea. So what you're saying is, what was the point?
Yeah. I'm the kind of person who knows when to gloss over a paragraph. So I'll just go read, and if something catches my eye and I want to learn more, then I'll read more. If I want to learn more afterwards, then I'll just do the tutorial, and then I'll get it working, and then I'll sleep on it and come back the next day and go back to the tutorial and read more. So this is really great. I think the part that I am not a big fan of, the glitches, I mean, it is what it is, but the glitches are painful. Maybe one way to get around it is like warning labels, or inside the tutorial itself saying this step is glitchy, and just be transparent about that. And that might be one way to sort of mitigate the frustration, or it's really less frustration and more question marks going, hey, did I do something wrong? Or is it my fault? Or is it Dash APIs? Or what's going on? So that might be something that could be useful. Other than that, I think this is definitely a fun experience, and it's getting me curious about crypto, which I never thought I would be. So yeah.
Well, I think Ryan accomplished his goal then.
yeah, several goals for sure. Yep, let's chat offline, and then we'll figure out what the next step is.
Awesome,
man. Thanks so much for doing this, Monarch, and we'll catch all you guys next time.